Liquid Therapy podcast. How we doing today, dudes? This is the first episode. This is new. This is a new thing. This is gonna be something. Liquid Therapy, dude. The podcast where we drink our drinks and we chat about stuff. You know what I mean? So I think we'll start this off. We're gonna get right into it. We're gonna introduce ourselves. So actually, I'll go first since I'm already speaking. Hey, Alcoholics Anonymous. This is Voxy here, or Dylan. You guys may or may not know who I am, because it's most likely people from my Discord. Everyone's gonna be like, "Who the fuck are those guys?" I'm like, "I'm Voxy." There's a sign above my name just in case I forget. Dementia and all. I'm talking about. And then so I'm a streamer guy. I make content, and I do the gaming style stuff on Hypixel Skyblock, some Minecraft stuff, some Apex Valorant stuff like that. Whatever I feel, And I like alcohol. What I'm drinking today is I'm drinking some Red Stag Jim Beam with a little bit of Pepsi throwback. I like me a little bit of bourbon, a little bit of whiskey. It's not bad. And we're here. We decided to do this podcast. It's like a candid conversation with two homies. We've known each other forever. So you know what we're gonna do? Introduce yourself, bro.
Well, I'm fucking Squally. I do TikTok mostly. I also play now Valorant, as opposed to doing Apex because I'm not about that scene anymore.
No.
But no, yeah, that my drink of choice for today is gonna be a Crown Royal Peach. I didn't show the bottle, but I didn't think this part through.
Yeah, I have both of mine. I got Jim Beam Red Stag, and I also got my Jim Beam Honey for after, because I only had a tiny bit left of this. So just in case. And I have a little bit of mix for it, which is, again, this one. I have the Pepsi throwback. I don't know if you had this stuff in a while. I forgot it existed. Yeah. But they have it over at Walmart, so I was like, I was going to pick up a case of it. But I think that's pretty dope. That's like, I like mixing stuff, but I only really like mixing with Pepsi. It's kind of weird. Like, that's the one thing I always default to is always Pepsi.
I don't know. I find that root beer is my main choice for doing that at this point.
Say root beer? Wait, with like whiskeys and stuff, or is it like bourbon? And
yeah.
Damn, I gotta try that. I don't think I've actually ever tried that in my life. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna structure this. It's gonna be a little scuffed because it's the first time ever trying to do a podcast, and this is obviously gonna be a little bit different than like most podcasts people listen to, because like they have like scripts, they have like a stage, they have like all this, they have all this stuff planned. We're just kind of going at this head on, and we've never done this before, so I think it's a really cool outlet for us to try out. Because like again, you and I, like we'll start off by like introducing like who we are, and like we've done that, so we'll move on to like exactly why we're doing this and like how we met and shit. I guess that's probably a good thing to talk about. So, dude, how many years now has it been since we've met? I don't even want to try to do the math, but I think we need to attempt it just because it's kind of funny.
Oh, that's been ages. What fucking probably grade 1, wasn't it? Or 2?
No, it was grade 3 that we met, because I got expelled from my my previous school in grade 2, and then I moved over to the school that you were at in grade 3, like the end of grade 2. So like the end of grade 2 pretty well. So it was in grade 2 technically that we met. So like how old were we then?
Oh, fuck. I hardly remember how old I am now. I actually had a conversation with some guys at work about age and whatnot. We're both fucking sitting there like, holy fuck. Just the years that you put in.
Yeah, it just disappears so quickly. Like even like where, like you said, the place that you work, like I worked there for like, what was it, like 7-8 months. And then it's since then it's been years, and I had no idea it was that long ago,
Yeah.
My God.
Well, I've been there for a little over 4 years now.
Yeah. So what do you do for work? Just for the people listening in, just so they know.
A lot. I do a lot of here and there kind of things at this place. Mainly, I try to keep all the machines going for one side of the building, a sister in the other side of the building, and it's basically cleaning up after other fucking people at this point.
Yeah, the GO stuff, is that like a lot of what you're doing nowadays? Are you still doing like what was the room that you were in a lot? You were in mounting, right?
Yeah. Well, the thing is now is that once I kind of spread myself out more, now I work any side of the wall. I can cover all the GO crap, like it. Just pretty much whatever the hell they need at the start of the day. Trades. pretty much.
Yeah, but like, okay, so
Kind
like,
of
what
dug myself a
exactly? If you
hole.
had, is it, isn't it like it's like a printing facility, kind of like a printing operation for like
Kind of,
yeah, it's like for like Royale, like so basically anyone wants a visual idea of what it is, because I worked there for a while too. We actually moved over to that at the same time, and we'll talk about what we did before that, because that was even more entertaining to me. I think
oh
the
yeah.
job previous to that one was the best, but it just fell short because of the people that we worked for. But I feel like the place, we can't say the name of it, but specifically what it is, it's a printing facility where you print things for like for one example, one really good product is Royale, like actually like wraps the let's say like tissues or like toilet paper or stuff like that, like those things, the wrapping of it where you see little tiger Royale, that brand, like that kind of stuff. So like we like at that exact place, what we would do is pretty well have a huge machine. It's called like an F&K machine or whatever. But anyways, what it would be is like you take like a blank roll of film or plastic, whatever. What do you call it? Because I can't remember. I call it film.
Yeah, it's film. It's poly.
Yeah, poly. There you go. So you take that, and then you have an unwind area. So you load it into the machine, then it filters through the entire machine. Then someone goes through quality assurance when it is printing. After changeovers, where you have to deal with different inks and solvents and acetates, whatever, and you have to make sure the viscosity is proper with all the inks that is applied onto the actual poly. And then when it rolls through the entire machine, eventually it gets printed on, and it binds with the poly to then show you the final product on rewind. And on rewind is where I originally started, where you take all of that off and you make sure it's all good. You cut off a sample, you bring it over, they get the colors perfect. Like the quality is supposed to be perfect. But then again, it's, as close as you can get it. And then usually it's bad. And then after that, you take off the rolls after they're spliced. And like when they finish off the roll, you make sure it's all perfect. The roll is nice and properly centered with the cords you got to cut have also got to be the perfect size. And then once you take them off on this giant machine, you got to palletize them and then wrap them, make sure everything's good to go. You cap them off so they stay together. You have to tape them on to make sure they stay put on the actual thing, so 200-pound roll of plastics and to come down and crush you on the offhand. So it's just a whole bunch of stuff goes on there. It sounds really simple, but like that's dude, it's the worst job I've ever had in my life. Like just morale there, it doesn't even exist. Like what would you say
Oh,
now,
it's
like
even
years
worse now.
later? Yeah, it's just
It's
even
even
worse.
worse now.
Yeah, it just gets bad. So that's really what it is. So it's a printing type facility, but uh we're not printing money, sadly. Printing large dips in morale, if anything. I feel like it's the only thing they know what to do there.
Although, have you ever actually heard like how the facility works for printing money?
Printing money, how the facility works,
Yeah.
not even a slight clue, because every time I look at
Oh,
anything with a lot of money in it, I feel real depressed.
I've heard things about it, and you're like from what I got told, you get scanned in and out. You get basically fucking patted down every time you go in and out of the facility. You're constantly on cameras and whatnot, which makes sense because you're dealing with fucking unmarked bills at the time.
Oh, 100%.
And whatnot. But it's a fucking 24/7. You're always watched type of deal. I wouldn't want to fucking work there.
I mean, I would love to see what it's like and do like a walk around, but even then you also have like probably background checks, and they probably do extensive like searching on your person, like pretty well every time you make a move. Like they want to constantly be on top of it, because I mean, like think about it, like you go into a place that is quite literally an open bank vault,
Yeah.
and you're printing more and more and more and more and more. Clearly there's going to be people that are trying to get in there and scheme. Like we watch like any movie about like any sort of heist, that is like the spot that would be the craziest to hit, obviously. So like, and obviously it's a movie, it's not likely it's going to happen, but like just from ideas that stupid people get, the right people plan something like that, it could go horribly wrong for them. So I guess that's a pretty interesting thing to look at. But all right, so when it comes to the working and stuff like that, how did how did we meet? How we start talking and stuff like that? Let's see. So grade 3, grade 2, whatever that was. Uh, what? Okay, so what was what dude? What did we first? I can't remember how exactly we started talking, but I remember I got expelled for fighting in grade 2. I was an asshole. I still am. But I was a piece of shit back then. And then I got transferred over to that school, which, I ended up passing by there again, like just recently, and it seems so tiny now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's crazy how like that kind of flew by, I guess. I don't know how old we would have been, but that's obviously forever ago. And I remember going there, and I'm pretty sure we were in the same classroom, and then we kind of just randomly started talking, and I think it's because we both swore. I'm pretty sure that's what I remember. I think it was because we both just started swearing and we just started hanging out because like we were like the only ones who really just like hated everything with like an equal amount.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I can't remember what it was. I think we went outside and we started hanging out during like recess and stuff like that. Which throwback to recess, my God, man, that was the place to be. My God, I that's like one thing about school that I
Oh.
miss the most is recess. It has to be.
Uh, says that starting ages for grade 2 is between 7 and 8.
Holy shit. So we're getting damn close. Obviously not exactly, but
Yeah.
damn close to 20 years. We're getting there. Because yeah, we're both. Wait, no, you're 25 now,
Yep.
right? Yeah, so you're
Yep.
25 now on St. Patty's.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, thought so. That's what I was trying to remember. I don't know why every time I think St. Patty's, when I think of like birthdays that land on it, I knew it was you, and then sometimes I second guess it, and I think it's Patrick, just because of his last name, or no, his first name, not last name. Fuck, it's first name, last. It depends on how you write it, but yeah, I always forget about that one. But even Stephanie, my girlfriend, if anyone doesn't know, so Stephanie, her birthday is the 19th of April. But every single time I say that out loud, I second guess myself and think it's the 17th. And then just be saying this now, my brain's gonna flip it. So now it's like it goes back and forth, but it happens all the time. But yeah, so we would have been 7 or 8 years old when we met, and we are 24, 25 now. So that's crazy. That is actually gross. 18 years
Yeah.
ago, roughly. 18 years ago. Holy shit.
Yeah, we're getting old,
Yeah,
man.
we're
We're getting
getting there,
old.
man. I mean, like it's changing a lot. You know what I mean? I mean, obviously, it happens in that amount of time. But like we've been homies since the beginning of that shit. So it's been a long
Yeah.
time. And like I feel like
Well,
I don't think we've ever had a falling out, have we? Have we had like like a little bit of like pissed off, like middle of anger or something like that? But I don't think we ever had like a falling out where we didn't talk for a year.
nah,
Not one
nah,
time.
we've never had that.
We've always just been like real focused on like we do our thing, and then we never really have to worry about like, oh, dude, sorry, I haven't talked to you in a long time. Are you still alive? Like, no, it's just whenever you message, be like, oh yeah, it's been like 6 months. And we're just like, hey, what's good, bro? Not chilling. Valor, yeah, let's get on. Yeah, like shit like that. So it's just it always kind of like went on pretty well. So I guess that's a good reason to explain like why we're able to have a podcast at this point. It just makes sense. We have a lot to
See the
fucking talk about.
see the fucked up thing to think about nowadays is the fact that just when the adult generation during our time when we were kids and whatnot, the standpoint was that you had a house or you had well mainly you had a house, you had kids and all this shit and
Life
whatnot.
figured out all that.
Yeah, you had everything figured out in your fucking mid or fucking slightly late 20s and shit. And now, good luck fucking affording a house.
Oh, dude.
Holy shit.
I remember seeing so okay, so I was just recently over at the Wilsons, where I grew up over there. So like where
Yeah.
it's back and forth when I was younger. So my little brothers, which is my half brother, and then his grandparents, they were kind of like where we're at all the time. So you remember going over there, swimming in the pool and hanging out, and that's like where the spot was. You know what I mean? Right down the
Oh
road from
yeah.
your mom's too. So like it just worked out perfectly. And when we were there, I remember like asking them how much their house cost, and they never wanted to tell me. But like eventually, I got like an idea of it because I saw another place just down the road, and this was probably when we were in like grade. I don't know. I think it was like grade 7. I think eventually when I was going to visit them, because at the time obviously I wasn't there anymore. But moving around a whole bunch, there was people that were also moving around quite often, and eventually they ended up putting their place up for sale, and they ended up listing like what it was and how much they were asking for it. And a place that was very similar to their house, which how large it is. It has a large basement with like a little workshop, a wine cellar, a cold storage down there, like an area for all that. It has like a huge rec room down there, so you can make it a bedroom, a living room, whatever. It also had like the whole ground floor with a living room and a TV room, the surround sound in the whole place. And back then that was incredible. And then they got like, oh my God, the backyard, man. That backyard is stellar. Like that was perfect. Like they had the brick laid all the way around it, around the in-ground pool. And then they also had the diving board over there that never was available because it was always broken. Shout out to the Aunt Erin, you know.
Yeah.
That was tough. Her friends came over and broke that thing every single time it was fixed. And then they had the deck that was all the way around the outside of it. They had a little rocky area for the barbecue, another barbecue, the fire pit, and then they had a spot for the composter. Then they had a deck that came up a little bit more for sun tanning, and then a higher one that reached to the back where the sliding door was for a large seating area for a little cabana type looking thing, and then the barbecue. And then they had another floor on top of the garage and all that stuff too, and like another 4 rooms up there. So it was like insane. But that house, take a guess how much it cost back in like grade 7. Just an idea.
I I really want to say somewhere in the fucking, just because of where it was, I want to say like 500 to 750.
500 to 750K.
Yeah.
That's pretty well what it was. So it was about like 500K ish. That's what I saw. And that was an estimate, by the way. So it's not like a guarantee, but that's around the estimate because like that's what the house down the road was selling for. So around 500K. I think it was just over that, like maybe 520 or something. But that was grade
Yeah.
7. That house now, if I had to guess its price, I would guess a solid like 900 to a mil.
Yeah.
And like that's kind of nuts. It sounds kind of crazy just because of like that. And it might have even been lower then because that's all like in grade 7, 8, whatever. Like that was also years later. Even like when they first bought the house, I can imagine they got it for only a couple 100,000. But like now, I want to know how much it is, and like I have no idea. But like the fact that it has an in-ground pool with all of the brick all the way around it and the deck all the way around it and the multi-tiered deck as well with all of that space, it's just got to be like exponentially more and more and more and more and more. Because I was like one of the nicest backyards anyone has in that area, just because they haven't tried to change it. Which at first it was like kind of iffy because it had no grass back there and a lot of people like that. But because they kept it, they never really changed it. They never messed with it. It just they kept it up, right? Like they just made it, they put in effort to upkeep it. Eventually, I think it's made it like way more expensive, just because it's such
Yeah.
something you don't see like ever. So I think that specifically makes their house worth so much more because they've kept that really like timeless look, and no one else does that. Everyone else is just a plain grass backyard, and you got like a tiny little spot for your dog to shit. You know what I mean? But they also had like the front yard with a huge tree that they took down sadly, and then they also had, it was like a massive, what was it, pine tree?
Yeah, it was definitely a pine tree. That thing was fucking
Yeah,
huge.
it was massive, and they ended up having to get rid of it because of the lines. It kept on like causing like problems, and I mean it makes sense, starting fires and stuff too.
Yeah.
But I remember at one point when you remember we used to hang out underneath that thing. We try to climb it, whatever, and then we at
Mhm.
one point stashed a whole bunch of our pocket knives we found underneath it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they found those when they dug the thing up. They found a huge stash of them and a couple other things, and they were pissed because they're like they ended up scratching all the stuff. They're like, "Oh, what's this?" They had hidden it. They dug it all up and realized that we had all that there. They thought we stole all of them. I mean, like we did, but not from people, not from a store. It was like you just found them. You know what I mean? Like we just were walking around, you find stuff on the ground, you pick it up, you take it home. You
Yeah.
just there'd be like cool little things like that. Like that was just huge. We ended up having a little chair down there. We had this stuff stashed underneath it, probably a Hot Wheels or two, stuff like that. It was so sick. Nowadays it'll be meth needles and fucking bongs, but you never know now. If that tree was still there, there'd be a homeless shelter at that point. Fuck it, it was a good spot. My
Yeah.
God. Yeah, all that off of the fucking idea of like where our like where we met and all that stuff and like how everything's changed. But like let's fast forward to like this point. We've hung out like the entire time and we've been buddies like like I'd say we're pretty close friends the entire time of this whole thing.
Okay,
uh
you do all right.
what's something you remember us doing back in the day? Because like for me, manhunt, that's like the 99% of what I remember from back then.
Oh, back in the day. Back in the day, I remember going. You remember how our like choice of fucking dinner during when we got near to the high school era?
Oh yeah, dude, we had
Yeah.
what sausages and what was it, fucking spaghetti?
Oh, well, I was thinking the pizza place.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
so there was this
our
place.
religion.
Yeah, so we that the slices or the actual full large pizzas are like all we had. Even when we got
Yep.
into like in school, we go for lunches. We get those $5 slice and a pop. Funny story, I was just there literally 2 days ago. I went there
Yeah.
with Steph, and it's not the same. It's not the same at all,
No,
obviously, because the
the
lady
one that
left.
took over, right?
Yeah, yeah. So the place that took over starts with a W now. That
Yeah.
place. Yeah, now it's no longer the old spot with the B, and now it starts with a W, and it's no longer a W, it's an L. So the guy
Yeah.
in there was super, super, super nice, but he was also like he looked like he was just pissed off because he's working a place that is about 500 degrees at all times,
Yeah.
by himself too. So like that's another tough one. But we went in there and we were like, because we went for a walk all the way around another old school of ours, the one that was just right up the road and down behind your mom's place too, right? Like up the
Yeah.
road from grandparents. That place being completely, gone now is also another, you know, confusing, aspect of that too. Walking through all that just felt so odd. So we went for a long walk, like over around like our old school, and then down towards the grandparents, back up the other side, and we went up to Tim Hortons, got an ice cap, and then we went down to the water over near like the park there, near the lake there. Went and sat down there. I had like this swan kind of come up and just hang out like directly in front of us. And then it started getting like this other one that was like, picture this, we're sitting on the rocks here. We're like looking out at the water, and this swan just kind of slowly creeps in. And then right over like in the distance, far like where we're looking, to the left of us, we hear this fucking wah, wah, wah. And he's like, what the hell is that? We got another one like flying at him. I have a video of it that I can send you after this. But he's like flying right at him, just like, I don't know if he's like a territorial thing or the guy was just fucking around. But just going at him like full on, like neck extended, wings out, slapping the water, floating above it, little stupid ass feet dangling. Just looks stupid as hell, going right after him. And we're chilling there. But then after a while, we went back, just little nostalgic walk, trying to get some grass touching in my gamer day. And we went to the place, and I was like, I really want a slice. So we walked past it, went inside. Slice and a pop is $5 now. It is $5 for a slice of pizza and a pop. And the slice, mind you, is like, you remember how big they are, like about the
Oh
size
yeah.
of my hand, and it goes like, down to about here. So like I
Yeah,
could
and
hold it
it's
like
probably like
this.
this now, right?
Oh no,
Where
it's genuinely like it's about the same size, a little bit smaller, but it's not nearly as good. Like there's less cheese. The pepperonis are not nearly as good. They seem kind of stale in my opinion. The crust
Mm.
is thin and really just like more crunchy. It doesn't like fold perfectly. It kind of just like snaps. And
uh
just from that alone, it's like it's just really not good. And like the sauce even doesn't even have like that sweetness to it anymore. It's just like kind of stale. It's like that, squeeze sauce almost. It just is not good, bro. It's
Oh,
like stuff you get from Walmart, just trash. But I mean, I wasn't happy with it at all. But I mean, I got a Dr. Pepper for the first time, the second time ever that I've actually drank a Dr. Pepper. Uh,
yeah, you're probably gassy as fuck too. Fucking letting out all the fucking steam vents there.
well, that happens with any pop, but Dr. Pepper really made me feel like I was drinking like licorice or something. It's just
Oh yeah.
it's what's the drink amaretto or something that has like that flavoring in it or something like that. It's got amaretto something. I don't know what it is. Like Dr. Pepper amaretto. Uh I think it's something like that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Dr. Pepper bomb. Does Dr. Pepper contain amaretto? Yes. Okay. It is made of 23 unique flavors blended together, and one of them is amaretto, almond flavored liqueur. So like that's what I was tasting the most. But apparently, it goes really good with making that kind of cocktail or whatever it might be. Because I'm not really into drinking stuff like that, but that's uh,
Yeah.
that's a pretty friggin' popular one. But like, I haven't had a Dr. Pepper more than one time ever previous to that, and that was also only a couple of years ago. I always thought it would taste like ass.
Yeah.
Yeah, because people said it tastes like black licorice. I'm like, it just tastes like licorice, not specifically black licorice. But that always threw me off the idea. But yeah, so fuck. When it comes, okay, so we gotta skip on. I had another point that I had in my head, and I can't remember what it is now. You take us on to the next point. What are we talking about next? Because you have the same thing I have.
Oh fuck. Yeah. Well, let's talk about our fucking YouTube days here.
The YouTube days. All right, you lead us into that one.
All right. Well, fuck, it's been a long time. So
Years.
back in the day,
Well, I mean,
way
I
back
can
in
give you a
the
timeline. When we started doing it was unknown. But when we came to like the real crazy days, like when did MW3 came out after BO2, right?
day. Yes.
Yeah, I think yeah no
No,
wait no it, maybe
no, I came out after BO1.
are you sure?
Yeah, because it usually bounced between the two.
Yeah, it's true. Well, I mean that and others. I mean like there was okay, what is it? It was Activision, Treyarch, uh Infinity Ward. Were
Yeah,
those?
Infinity Ward mainly did Modern Warfare's, I believe.
Yeah, they did. And then Treyarch was Black Ops 2. Then
Yeah,
Activision, isn't that like I feel like Activision, I feel like I'm just like mushing them all together. I feel like
I
Activision
think
was just
I'm pretty sure Activision was like the big umbrella between them
I think so, yeah. That probably
because
was.
Activision always had its fucking name on it.
Yeah, that's true. Because like I remember going from like Call of Duty Black Ops, and then we'd have like Modern Warfare, but then we'd also end up getting something different, which was like Infinity Wars and stuff. But that was also like not Infinity War, Infinite Warfare or something like that. I don't know. You get what I'm talking about, like those weird games. You
Yeah,
started feeling, but again, that was also the Modern Warfare, people again still, right? I'm pretty sure.
yeah.
Yeah. So back then, so we'll say it was in like the Modern Warfare 2 days, if anything. So yeah, what do we start? We made like commentary videos, right?
Yeah.
hmm So what's your first memory of that? Like back then, like the way we did it, the way we set it up, the way we recorded, all that stuff. Because we might have the same memory,
Oh,
but I want to hear what you say first.
it was so fucking scuffed. It was so scuffed. Because I remember us fucking sitting there with the Elgato on the TV, which God help us all, we don't have to fucking do that anymore.
Oh wait, no,
But
no,
not everything.
it was okay, but real quick because I remember it specifically in my head. So I have this S8 that they sent me when I tried to get my my other phone. I literally have my S21 Ultra sitting right here, so I don't know why they even bothered. But the complimentary phone, this phone, like, I pretend this was the iPod Touch. Remember that shit? We'd have it
Yeah.
sitting on a chair, just like propped up towards it, and we'd have it like recording the screen while we sit on another chair or on the floor with the Xbox like on the TV. We'd be like going for clips of gaming and stuff, and we'd have this little thing recording, and you could hear everything in the background. You could barely see the footage. That's what I remember specifically. But yeah, you continue. That's that was in my head.
Oh, I remember the old days of you having to use the fucking Elgato and whatnot.
hmm
And now, at least nowadays, you don't ever have to worry about that, especially when you're fucking on PC anyways.
Oh yeah,
Now
PC
you
Master
don't
Race,
need
bro.
that third party crap and
hmm
whatnot. It's so much easier. But no, I remember the old days of wanting to fucking be the next phase
Oh
when
yeah,
that was a huge thing. Which
it was the coolest thing like at the time that we've ever seen. Like everyone was like watching them
okay,
blow up and doing exactly what everyone loved to do. And you're like, wow, that can happen, and we're like, that can actually get views on YouTube. And they're like, what even is YouTube? I don't know. So we took a dive into it, I guess. But
yeah, when people, as at least during our time, when you thought of like YouTube shit, phase was pretty much the first thing that came up.
mhm.
Nobody ever really cared about like any of the other shit that was going on and whatnot, but phase was a big name that came up so fucking quick.
Yeah, the phase team Tages, bro. My God, they were
Oh,
the coolest things. That's like the second they came with a team Taj, or anything really. I mean, like any videos, but the team Tajes when they came up with those, the ill cams and stuff like that too. Those
yeah.
were like the craziest things. Like they were something that everybody would get home from school and just like instantly run over and try to get it going. Like we'd have like you and I would be there with our Mountain Dews and our big old pizza or whatever, and we'd just be chilling there, like just watching it, like gaming, eating, snacking, trying to get good at the game, and just pretty well like in awe watching those. But goddamn. Okay, so I'm gonna do this real quick before we move on because I have another thing like well on the same topic, but I have something else I want to bring up for you. I think it's pretty cool. But name five name five different teams from back then that you remember.
5 different teams.
hmm
Oh, for like the old Call of Duty shit.
Yeah, when teams were originally like made and like when sniping, trick shotting, that stuff.
Oof. The only two I really remember with the big two back then, and that was fucking Phase and Optic.
Yeah, Phase and Optic were huge, and then there was also Soar. Soar
Yeah,
at the time
or
actually
was
competed a little bit with Phase, like not like in the numbers, but like they were competing like on style and clips and the activity and like the actual people that were a part of them, I guess. So there's another one. That's number three.
yeah.
Um, and then what's the other? It started with a D. There was another one. I think it was what Dare.
And yeah, there was Dare. Do you remember Thrust?
Oh yeah, Thrust came up out of nowhere. That was like later down the BO2 line. Thrust
Yeah,
came up
and
out of nowhere and
I'm
just
pretty
blew
sure
up.
Thrust came from old like people that quit Phase beforehand.
Yeah, I think you're right because like I remember that too. I remember like seeing a lot of people. I remember being in like a small team, like the team. I can't remember what they were called. It was in some small teams back then. It was like B something and then Bravo something and like
Ah,
other little things like that. And I remember a couple of them. We had Thrust editors editing some of our stuff, and
yeah.
that was like the coolest thing ever because they blew up out of nowhere. And I'm pretty sure some of them got like in some of them would hang out with people like Scarce back in the day when he used to do that kind of stuff too, and
Mm,
like people from FaZe specifically, like you said. And I remember seeing that pop up, and it was also with another team, XJMX, which were like the knifing ones. People like throw like throwing knives and tomahawks, and that was like another spin that like came out of nowhere and blew up. And like remember
yeah.
Blaze, like FaZe Blaziken, that guy. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure he was found from that. Like I think that's where he was like noticed from. If I'm remembering, I don't know if it's specifically that team, but something like that, where like they started doing all those styles, and it was just a huge curveball because like instead of just doing regular team dodges with snipers and whatever, they'd start bringing out knives and like hitting like five ons, and then like what I can't remember what people call it, like multi kills, and dude, it's crazy saying that, but like stuff like that popped up where they're hitting like trick shots even with them.
Oh, again, the feeds and all that.
And then the other big one, remember noob tubing?
Oh, that was my favorite, especially back in MW2 days. You remember the map with the fucking bunker in the center, and you could start off, pop it off in one fucking specific direction, and nail the fucking spawning team.
I am
It was the
trying to remember
only
what it
map.
is because you said it
It
was
was
the bunker in the center.
Yeah, like it's like a barren, almost barren wasteland. There's like this fucking hedge that goes through half the fucking map over top of the bunker. Older map.
Oh, wait, yeah, you're talking about the one that it would go crazy on nukes. Like it had like a whole bunch of underground tunnels, and then
Yeah,
like the hedge would go all the way front, left, right. Like it was like like you zoomed out to the top, it'd be like a compass almost, and like you would spawn in like either of the four spots, and then you would pretty well just ground war like nonstop on that one.
yep,
But it was good for that. Yeah, you'd spawn instantly, thump, and like go shoot it out, and you get like 4 or 5 kills instantly, like in a second, and that was
yep.
like the coolest feeling ever. No, I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm pretty sure it was called Wasteland. I'm
Probably
pretty
something like
sure
that.
Wasteland MW2 map. Uh, yeah, Wasteland. It's literally just called Wasteland. Yeah, Wasteland. Okay,
Ah,
but yeah, you know it by heart too. It literally yeah had like a it was like a T form, so it was almost kind of like a compass, but a little lower on the bottom side. You spawned in there was like a chopper in the bottom and a little like little building down here. The chopper over here, and then it was like an oval going up to the top. Little bunker over here with the little concrete dividers, and that's where like one team would start, the other team would start here, and you'd meet up in the center. And that was like a really crazy spot. You'd spawn, you'd look up at a certain spot everyone knew of, and you would just shoot the noob tube and hope that the other team weren't thinking. And then
yeah.
instantly 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 kills would just instantly happen. And that was like the coolest thing ever. So that's a throwback for sure. My God, I forgot about that map entirely. My God, I feel like MW2 as a whole, like, was probably what really started all of that, you know? Like that's really where all
Oh
the
yeah.
gaming started getting crazy. Like even like especially just sniping in general, but the trick shotting with like the glides and stuff like that, which is how I found my name originally. It was glide with two eyes because I was original and I was crafty. My God, do you remember your name back then? Which like whatever names you started with?
Fuck, I heard it's been so long. I fucking hardly remember any of that shit nowadays.
Well,
Like,
one of your names was what, Justice at one point. That's the one I have up here that we're gonna talk about soon because I.
yeah, during those days, I
Mhm.
think I had when we were doing aggro. I think I had aggro pride.
Yeah, yeah, you did. Aggro Pride, and then I remember you used that as a that's like your one. I think it was like one of the first couple names, especially on BO2 specifically too. I think that's where you first started using that one, and then I think you also used two eyes in yours too. I think we both just did that.
Yeah, well, I think it was mainly because fucking couldn't get the actual goddamn name.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean the amount of like names that were taken back then were also a lot slimmer. But dude,
Oh
like the fact that like we thought of anything, everyone wanted to add something weird. There was always like an X in front of the name or after the name, or underscores or something, or X in the middle of the name. But then there was like capital I's with ones instead of I's, and then there was like two I's. There was like X
yeah,
X something, and then there was like Z's in there, all caps and stuff like that was like the style. But nowadays you want to have it look as basic as possible. Like for example, if you wanted to make a channel now, like it would just be like I'm looking at one Montana Nick, and then it'd be like just stuff like that, just very simple.
yeah,
Uh, what's another one? Like there's just most large channels now just put their real name like that. That's it now. And back in the day, that would never even be an option.
yeah.
Yeah, it would always have to be
You,
something
you
like
had to be creative.
yeah, you had to have like Zergriz, which was like the guy who blew all that stuff up, which
Yeah,
it's like I feel like that's I don't even really know a whole lot about him in the beginning, but I heard about him more and more and more as we went on because whenever you talk about doing anything Call of Duty or trick shotting or sniping, his name would always pop up because he started doing like montages. I think before anyone in commentaries and stuff like that, and things in that realm way
yeah,
early on, which was again getting onto what we were talking about, like the commentary and sniping and stuff like that. When we got into YouTube, that specifically. I have the thing up and we watched that earlier, right? The
oh yeah,
team that we made, Excel, which excelled for about a single video.
yeah.
Yeah, we didn't
That's
do
as
anything
far as
else
that
other than
went.
that. Yeah, so, okay. So, do you remember anything from back then? Like what our thought process was? Because I'm drawing entire blanks. I just remembered it existed.
Oh fuck! I remember we wanted to be the next fucking big thing, and we really wanted to get it up in the fucking air and whatnot, but none of us had a really good clue of what the fuck we were doing.
Yeah, I think it was one of those like we see all those guys record themselves hitting clips. Let's get ourselves a cheap, literally a cheap like what was it? It was a 480p recording device. It wasn't even a in an Elgato or anything like that. It was literally like this crappy little device that was like thin on the bottom, kind of opened up into like a like kind of like the shape of a Y, but it filled in the top of it. It was like a kind of like a water drop, and then it flattened on the end. And that's where you plug in all of your color cords and stuff.
Yeah,
Your red, your yellow, and your blue cord or white cord, I think.
right.
I think it was a white one, yeah. So and then you would plug all those in, and then you would plug them into the back of your TV or Xbox or whatever, and that's what you use to record. And then once you did that, you would plug it into your laptop that we all pretty well like we were sharing with everybody, and then we use a laptop to put the clips on there and quickly chuck them together in a legal Sony Vegas application or
Yep.
Windows Movie Maker usually, and then make a little teentage or montage or whatever we did. And it was like the shittiest clips back then because we didn't have any sort of idea what we were doing. It was so new to us. 2013 January 20th is when we uploaded that video. And
Yeah.
did you read the biography for that, or like I said the biography? Oh my god, did you read the description of that video?
Nope.
Okay, let me read it for you. It's all in caps. Read, 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 and it says Excel sniping 2013. But that's not even when we started doing this stuff. This is when we started just trying to like instantly just get clips on there of anything. And what it says is Excel is here. We trick shot, feed, and kick some ass, but the ass is with two dollar signs at the
Hmm.
same time. This clan was made by Excel Glide with two eyes and Excel Justice. We are very grateful to Galaxy for editing our very first video. I know the clips weren't the best, but there was only two of us recording at the time. And then that little like face that we made out of like this icon and a P, like the little like
Yep.
wink, but like a dot and a P, the tongue out. Justice and Glide put hours into getting clips for this and hope it would turn into something worth the time. Smiley face. Subscribe, like, comment, and see you in our next Team Taj Excel sniping. Editor showed it off, Mr. Prod Galaxy, and then players are old names. And it's just, that was it. That's all we did because we realized how shit it was when we uploaded it. Anyway. And we
Yep.
even had someone make like an actual picture for it and everything, which is like, I can't remember his name, but he also made art for me back then, and he made a speed art video of him making my banner on YouTube when it was like a full on like, all the way from sides to the top for clickable things on it, and then all the way down the right side, and just a
Yeah.
real cool look to it back in the day. And yeah, we did that, and like we never did anything else after that. And like it's pretty obvious we sucked, but like we had a lot of fun doing it, like a lot of fun doing it. So I feel like
See,
that's something that I wish it would have kept going.
I feel like they should have kept that banner set up going around the whole frame because now it doesn't look as good compared to what it could have looked like for back then.
I feel like that's like, I want to say that like they did that because it was trying to get with the times, but they kind of forced it to change so it doesn't feel like it fits the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like previously, what would happen is like if we did anything at all, you would kind of just instantly, go to their channel and you'd look at it. Like everyone, if you saw anything happen, you would go to their channel and look for the video. But
Yeah.
now you're subbed to so many people, and like that doesn't even matter anymore. Like you don't go onto people's direct channels; you just go to your homepage, right? And like that's
Yeah.
where everything goes down. But I feel like I don't know if it's specifically them changing the look of the channel pages, or if it's just because people just stopped caring about doing it in general. But I wonder if people would still use them if they had them nowadays. I definitely would, just because of the nostalgia. But that's me saying it now because it's been so long. But who knows? Maybe not. But regardless, I thought that was dope though, because you'd have a picture of like all this crazy stuff, and then anywhere on the top of it, you could have like a picture of like the MW2 intervention. You could have it like scoped in, and then you could
Yep.
have on the side, you could have a little badge on your shoulder of the thing that someone made that would say YouTube, and you could click that link, just because it would be like a little clickable spot on it. You click that, and then it would bring you to your team, and then you could have another one where like back in the day where it was like your Skype profile. They could have that tagged on there too, and things like that, where like you could go to your socials, and that was always really cool. But now it's what even is it now? Because like I don't even specifically remember. I'm gonna go to it. It's just a picture with the name you're at, your subscribers, your videos, and then you have a banner on top of it that no one ever looks
Mhm.
at, and that's literally it. That's all it is. Like if I go to my channel now, like if I clicked on that, I think, yeah, it's just I don't even use it because no one ever looks at it. And then there's like your videos, shorts, live, playlist, community, store, channels, about, search tab, and then it's just so much stuff now. It's like it's too I don't know what to call it.
Skyblock is
I could hear myself in the background. Okay. But it's like it's so much different now, and it doesn't even feel like worth looking at. I don't think I ever go to people's channels anymore. I just search their name, and then the first video or the second video that pops up is their most recent one. So
Yeah.
that's all it takes now.
Well,
But
fucking slightly going back to poking around the old names and whatnot. Do you remember the last two names that I used when I was still on console?
the last two names you used.
Yeah.
Oh,
'Cause I remember
your
them
there one
vividly.
was a your something communist or something.
Your communist was
Your
one.
communist and dude, I remember that one specifically because I was like I questioned you a lot on that one. I don't. What the hell was the last one? Because it was your communist and does it start with a P?
I guess the last word ends with a P, yeah.
Oh, okay, I have no idea. What was the last one?
Neutral parking.
Oh fuck yeah, neutral parking. Yeah. So yeah, okay, yeah, no, I remember that one now. No, my
The-
names are always so like like blank Foxy or blank
Yeah.
Glide or whatever, like team names or Jesus,
Yeah, the attention that drug as soon as I got into lobbies was astronomical.
I mean, like back then you have like anything kind of weird and people just like to see like a funny name, they would just laugh about it. But
Yeah.
nowadays it's all like his jet, his jet and her whatever, her fade or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh my god, just awful.
Yeah, we
I hate
play
that name.
we play a lot of Valorant now, boys.
Yeah, I'm getting into it now, and you got me into that because I remember. Well, technically, like the chat got me into the idea of playing it. I always thought it sucked because I just looked at it from an outside perspective, never tried it. And then I
Yeah.
remember saying I was gonna play it eventually. Like, oh, you should probably try it before you stream it. I was like, yeah, I guess you're right. And I'm like, fuck, you want to show me how to do it? You're like, yeah, sure. So we got on, and now I'm fiending to play it more so. And like, I'm not gonna like lie and say that like I'm good or something. People that watch this may have seen me play. I'm not the greatest, but like, I mean, we do kind of keep up more so on the kills and stuff like that. It's just my technical, gameplay is
Yeah.
not exactly the best. Like there's still stuff to work on there, but dude, that game's getting real addicting. It's not nearly like nothing will ever feel the same as like the Call of Duty Black Ops 2 era
No.
though. That I used to spend 8 hours a day every single day, no matter what I had doing. Like what I had to be doing before, after, nothing. I did not matter. I would find time to sweat that game and get clips that I would never use
Yeah.
because I couldn't record for the most part because I was moving all the time, and I just didn't
Well,
have that extra stuff. But that was the stuff that like really got me addicted to gaming, like 100%.
well, it's hard to get invested in more than like 2 or 3 games nowadays, especially with how much it requires you to sink in to keep up with everyone.
Yeah, because now everything's all, if you're not racing to be the best player in the room, then what are you even doing? It's like it's crazy competitive. Yeah, it's like, what, have you ever heard the
Everything's
the
competitive.
statement where it was like, there's no such thing as casual gaming anymore?
Yep,
Yeah,
and it's accurate too.
that's true. Every single thing you do has a leaderboard attached to it. Every single thing you do has some competitive aspect to it, and every single lobby you get into, there's going to be the majority of them think that they're going to make it if they try hard
Yeah,
enough, and it's like it's not a bad thing to be like aspiring to be a good player, but the amount of people that actually do make it anywhere or do anything in the competitive scene are like a smidge.
slim,
Yeah, and
just
it's
slim.
it's super toxic too, because like if you're like the funny meme part of this one is like, oh, it's that dad that's getting off his 8 hour shift, getting home while his kid's crying in the background, and his wife is like trying to upkeep and like take care of the kid while he's cracking open a beer with his open microphone, trying to play in the lobby, is trying to just have a good time. And then here comes it's Timmy just absolutely shitting on his
Yep.
dreams, and it's like every single time. And like, I shout out to Timmy, I love his content. uh an absolute freak at the game. People like him in a good way exist, like they exist for good entertainment. They're really hilarious to watch. Good, their personalities, 10 out of 10. Their style, their gameplay is 10 out of 10. But that also breeds more of the competitive nature and like everyone that's watching. Because like I have not been able to watch a single one of his videos and then not end the video instantly feeling like I need to go and try to get to that point. Like every single time, even slightly, but like God, it makes you kind of like puts you in this weird idea that like, oh, if he can do it, I gotta try too.
Yeah.
But like some people are just gifted, like, and they're
Oh
humble about
yeah.
it too, where they say, oh, if you put enough hours, then you can get there too. But like, no, we fucking can't. All right, we don't have it's Timmy in our name. All right, it doesn't work. It's not the
But
same thing.
everyone's got fucking TTV in their name though.
Oh my God, dude, it's always the. You know what's funny? The TTV names, none of them stream.
No.
Not one of them. And if they do, they're never streaming when you go to them. And
Yep.
like once you do go to their channels, they're not doing anything. Like there's no reason to promote it because there's nothing there. Like they're
Yeah.
literally like one viewer because it's them on their other channel, which is like that's just how it is. There's so many streamers that a lot of them are stuck at one viewer. Like you've been there, I've been there, like, everyone's been there. You know what I mean? It happens. And like until you do something crazy, it just stays that way for some shitty, not even some reason. It's pretty obvious. There's so many people that do it now, but
Yeah.
it's always some guy who's just not speaking, who has like really loud audio for his game. You can't even hear his microphone, and it's like frame skipping and stuff like that. And then you can hear a kid in the background crying, and it's just that's all it is. It's never anything like some guy who's trying to make it and has like a huge setup and like has his lights up and set up and like he's talking and engaging. Like he's just dead. So like the TTV names are the new like Z or X's in your names or stuff like that. That's like the new meta. And
Yeah.
God, it's awful. Now you're gonna see people with Kick in their name now.
Yeah.
It's it's like, what are you doing? It's like, oh yeah, find me on Kick, kick.com/IVOXYY. And I even made an account. I was thinking about streaming over there. But actually no, I got VOXY on that one. I made the account just because of that. Um and then yeah, that's all it is now. Is everyone always tries to copy that name, which I mean, fair game. Why not? But
Yeah.
it's just now that every time I see TTV in a name, I always make fun of it, especially when I see people in my Twitch chat with those names. And it's always people that are regulars too that they'll come back and be like, "What's going on, Vic TTV?" And he'll be like, "Fuck off." He'll be like, "I changed my name because of you or something." I'll always like bully them or some shit, but that shit was funny. Or like,
As they should.
yeah, 100%. That or YT, like YT in the
Yeah.
name. And I'm like, God damn it. I was like, there's that one guy who tries to hit but it's my initials. It's not YouTube. It's my initials. I swear. My God. What kind of? Oh, I never said like Yusuf or something. I don't know. What kind of names? Yarpy? No, that's with a J. What kind of names do you get out of a Y? I. It's got to be just Yusuf or something.
Some really weird.
Yeah, I
And
don't think there's
even
many.
even that's like probably like a fucking EU kind of fucking spelling for it.
Yeah, it's definitely not like an average thing you'd hear in like you're walking around Canada and a guy comes up and says something and his like name starts with a Y.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just not really not very common. But like whenever I see that kind of stuff, there's always like some funny excuse to try to be like, no, it's not what I did it. It's not why I did it. But when you go to their
Yeah.
channel, it's some weird Roblox video with no talking from like 8 years ago. It's just stuff like that. It's so funny. My God. So like, okay, so with all that YouTube stuff, when we made these clips and stuff, we had multiple teams that we were in, on and off. And in BO2, I feel like the main thing, oh no, MW3 too. The main thing we did was commentary stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you remember the MW3 commentary that you recorded? And it was like you doing, you were like kept respawning with your tac insert on this one map with like the terminal, or no, not the terminal, the train station or something like that. I think you recorded it at my house on our shitty setup, with the actual 480p recording device. Do you remember that day, like that, like that time, or not the specific day? Do you remember that video?
No, I don't.
Because I can't remember your channel name, but I do remember that video, and I found it randomly not that long ago because I was trying to find something as like a throwback,
Yeah.
um, and I couldn't find anything of mine, and then I found that I found something of yours where you were recording and doing like this talking just regular commentary video, and you were like respawning with that, I think it was a Scar H in your hand, and
Yeah.
like you're going around like tac insertion and like respawning, going and killing one or two, dying, and then going back and forth. And that style is where we like, I think we really thought we were doing something with it, even though we were getting like 5 views a video.
Yeah.
And those days are the only reason that like I even kept on playing Call of Duty past like that point. BO2 being the exception. I sweat that without even trying to do anything other than just
Boy.
play it, just because trick shotting in lobbies or whatever. But I feel like that style, I wish it was as popular today. Like that was the shit. That was like the one thing that like just you could do anything. You could literally just make a commentary of you talking about anything and people would listen to it. Like nowadays you have to record a podcast and you have to be super famous and you have to, market it out the ass. And on top of that, you also have to keep up on like 4 other projects with your team that you're in, or like the offline TV type
Yeah.
style or something like that, for like anyone to know you exist. And it's just crazy. The only people that do that nowadays are, like Jev. I think that's it. I think it's just Jev. And I guess like this girl, Buzzer, nice. Butters or something like that too, if you know who she
Yeah.
is. Yeah, so like
Oh.
stuff like that is just that's the only way. I feel like there's only a couple people who do it nowadays. But if you were on this question, if you were to go back and do like any of those styles, what game would you do the commentaries on? If you had to pick like one of the games to stick with, if you had to pick something, what would you choose?
If I had to stick with a game, and we're talking from the Call of Duty line, right?
Yeah, yeah. Which Call of
So
Duty would you pick? Because like there's a lot out there now, but I feel like none of them are nearly as exciting as the ones in the past. Like like back in the
I
day, that shit
I
was
miss
popping off.
I miss COD 4.
COD 4A, that was a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was. I think that one was like, I don't know if it probably isn't true, but I feel like that was the first Call of Duty that people really started recording on.
Yeah, it was big, and it's one of the older ones that after a couple lines down the down the fucking rabbit hole of all these Call of Duties that people actually went back to.
Yeah, I think that makes sense because, like, I mean, COD 4 was just simple. It wasn't trying too hard. It felt the most realistic with like you get you shoot someone in the face, they're dead. Shoot them like right here with a sniper, they should be dead. You know, you get a couple bullets on somebody, they're dead. Like it just makes sense. It's you're not flying around. There's no like crazy, super slides or dolphin dives and just doing some crazy movement. You jump out of a window and you hit the ground, you're slowed, you're red, you're hurt now, and like your aim drops a little bit, comes back up slowly. There's not some crazy spread. It was just
Yeah.
like really simple, but that's like the whole reason it was fun. And it was also on maps that like were I'm pretty sure there were landmarks at certain parts of like certain places in the past that like you would know of. Like remember Chernobyl?
Yep.
Yeah, that one where you go in like you're fighting in that place, and then that leading into MW2. Because if I had to pick one game to do like commentaries on, I would pick BO2, but it would also be close to MW2. Because remember that with like the Spec Ops missions
Oh yeah.
where we like get out of the map and go to Chernobyl, you'd go and get on top of the big old Ferris wheel. You go into the pool area, you get on top of buildings floating up in the sky because you get on these barriers and these glitches. That stuff was fun as hell and it had so much going on in it. So I think that has like the most content in one Call of Duty where you didn't have to go and pay a shit ton of money and it wasn't broken. Things worked back then. Call of Duty just worked, you know?
See, I was actually taught thinking about this last night while I was at work. I miss when things like Call of Duty used to do DLC.
Yeah. Yeah, and like DLC wasn't like, pay
Yeah.
super expensive stuff because like remember back we would get like it was just DLC. You'd get it, and it was like $5, $10
Yep.
maybe, and you just get a whole like set of new maps, firing range, and stuff like that. Where like you just have like that one like hollow. What was it? There was a couple in BO2 that really hit like heavy. Because I don't think MW2. I don't think I bought a lot of that DLC. I don't think I really bought that stuff. I wasn't really huge into that buying stuff
No,
wise, but
our
BO2 was everything.
biggest one that we sunk in a lot of not a lot of money, but like in terms of like consistently buying DLC, Black Ops 1.
Black Ops. Oh yeah, true. Yeah, Black Ops 1 was crazy. That one had a
If you
lot going on.
were if you were playing with the boys, you were doing a lot of zombies
Hmm.
and you were always trying to keep up with the new maps.
Yeah, new maps, the Easter eggs, stuff like that. And that was,
Yeah.
oh my God. And like, I know they got crazy in like BO3 and BO4, but I never really got into those ones. I didn't really find them
Yeah.
too exciting because I just didn't like the Call of. I like Call of Duty for zombies for sure, but mainly it was the sniping and trick shotting. So like that was perfect in BO2. I hated it in BO3 and BO4, but the zombies in BO3 and BO4 blew up. But BO1 had all of that. It had everything. And remember like our old friend Kyle?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, back in the day, we'd run zombies with him all the time, and like we'd have like the same what was that map where like you start in that it's like this nuclear plant or something. I don't know what it was, but there was like four different corners that you'd have to go out of and like watch the windows, and then you'd move on to this other area. You get like your goal was to try to get the Wonder Waffle. You know,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, that
Yeah,
that whatever that
that
map was, you get what I'm saying. Where like you're everything. I think it was a nuclear reactor. You were going. I don't know what it was, but something like that. And then there was like this one area that would bridge over with like all the barbed wire fencing, and you try to jump between one to the other, and if you fell down, you get swarmed because of like all the other, the zombies would just pile up into
yeah.
you. And the certain little hallways, if you went down, you were dead. If you went into certain rooms, you get blocked off, you're dead. And it was like just super exciting to see how far you could make it, no matter how many times you played it. And like that's something that like I actually miss playing that stuff. Even in Cold War, it was good. And they did it
Yeah.
differently. Like we did that on the real open map. It was like a huge map. And then there was like these little miniature survival type situations you had to find yourself in, and like it kind of felt like the upside down almost, you know what I mean? You had to go through the
Yeah.
terror. That like the oh my God, I feel like BO1 started the craziest trend for that. Not even wasn't even the first thing to do it. I think Call of Duty World at War, uh that was the original or something. i think
Yeah.
i think it was that one, but that one was good but only had a couple. But Black Ops 1 really went crazy with it, and like that's the one I'll probably always remember. So that was good.
See, submit it here. I'm gonna send you here the maps here. The one that we mainly played was Ascension.
Ascension. Is that the one I was trying to explain? Ascension. BO
I
one
just
map.
sent you the picture frames of them.
Ascension. Yeah. That one. That was sick. Yeah, that
Yeah.
one was actually wicked, wicked. Rise was
Yeah.
also fun. Ascension was the best in my opinion. Kino was always good, but it was like, we've had that forever, right? Like Call of
Oh
the
yeah.
Dead, I never got into Call of the Dead that much. I really didn't find that one exciting. With that really
Oh,
slow guy with the hammer, and he would just walk
yeah.
real slow. I hated him because like I never really found that one fast paced, and it ruined the whole excitement for me. But dude, I don't know, like Call of Duty Zombies was probably the longest lasting part of Call of Duty for me that made it fun. And like even
Yeah.
now I still have urges to play it. I just like never I don't like playing stuff like that by myself anymore. It's weird. It's like because we used to just like everyone would just play with people. It made it like when you think of it, like me personally, when I think of zombies, I think of Call of Duty. I think of these things as with a group of people or a couple people, one person, whatever. I think of it as like a multiplayer experience, and there's really no single player for me anymore. Like I've
Yeah.
outplayed it for the most part. It's like you want to have someone else there to really try to like double down because it brings in more zombies too, and that's always fun.
Yeah. I honestly I rarely play any single games now.
Yeah, it's not really something I do. I try to like on the game I play, like on stream and stuff like that. When I'm playing Skyblock or whatever I'm doing, I play alone, and that's how I play. But I have like the whole chat. I'm chatting with all of them the entire time, and everything I'm doing involves a bunch of other people in the server that are just existing, like an MMO, RPG, whatever. Like there's people around,
Yeah.
and like that always makes it more entertaining. But now that I have to get into things where I have to play with a bunch of random dudes in these parties like dungeons and this Kudra thing, which is like another aspect of it. It's like fighting this boss in this battle. Now that I'm playing those styles, it's not really the same because it's not like your homies, it's random ass people, and that's like another reason. Let's say like playing like Valorant, for example, like that specifically is another thing that I just don't play often unless I don't play it unless you get on, or I play for like long. I play for like maybe an hour and that's it. And
Yeah.
then like if you're on, we'll play for like 4 or 5 hours or play for 1 hour, however long. It doesn't matter. I'll just keep playing. Depending on what time it is. If I'm like after a stream or something, I'm dead. But it's not really the same anymore. But I feel like zombies, I'll never be able to play that solo ever again. Not one time. It's so weird. Which speaking of, we should probably play that at some point. One of them, anyways. Download the 87 gigabytes it's going to take to even play one round of zombies with 17 different installs you got to get through and update your computer and then restart the game like 4 times just
Mhm.
to play a single round of zombies to then find out it doesn't work because no games work anymore.
See, the
My
last
God.
single player game I played was fan fucking tastic, and it was Elden Ring.
Dude, I never played that. I always heard it was good, but I looked at it and I don't know if it was just, I feel like a cranky grandpa. But like, I always found it looked like ass. And I know people said it was like one of the most like visually appealing games out there, but I just
Yeah.
never found it entertaining, which sucked because it was huge.
Yeah.
Everyone loved it, but now I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know what is good anymore. But like, I remember that coming out and I didn't like it.
Souls games and whatnot are like solely based off of skill based, like 80% of the time, more than 90%.
Yeah. I mean, that wasn't that game like, I think there was a couple people who decided to because it got so hard to beat. A lot of people like wanted to speed run it, try to get it done fast, and there was like a death counter of like
Yep.
a couple hundred. And then because people played it so well, then the top tier players were like, "I'm gonna beat this on a Dance Revolution mat."
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna beat this with just screaming. I'm gonna beat this with a straw. I beat this with all these things. They're doing it random ways. Beat this with my feet, stuff like that. Where like people are doing it with like their brain or something. I don't know. It's weird. Like it gets crazy. But like games like that, I find fun. But I get like frustrated way too easy for that kind of game. Just doesn't make
It
sense for me.
it won Game of the Year last year.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm not surprised because like I can definitely see the hype around it. I just wish that I enjoyed it. But like there's a lot of
But
games like that now.
did you know that at one point there was a three-way tie for Game of the Year? It was Elden Ring, The what the hell would it have been called? Probably God of War 4, the newest God of War they did at that
I
time
didn't
with
even know they
the
made another
sun
one.
and shit. And
Oh wait, no,
then
I remember seeing that.
Stray.
Stray, the cat game.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
cat
dude, that
game. The
game looks
indie
so weird.
fucking cat game.
That game looks so
Like,
odd. But like, was
yeah,
it good? Did you play it?
I did play some of it. I still need to finish it. But visually, it's very appealing. Like, very, very appealing.
Yeah, I need to like start playing more like games like that or whatever. But my problem is I am terrible with like if I see a video game that costs money nowadays, I
Yeah.
always get let down. Every time I play a game that costs money, I feel like I'm letting myself down because like I never play them. Like every single time I buy a game, I don't play it ever. Like I play it like a little bit, I critique it too hard, and I'm like I don't
Yeah.
like it anymore. But that's because like new games are like literally in Canada here, they're like at bare minimum $85, mostly over 100
Yep.
for a game that lasts you maybe like 5 hours of content, and that's literally what most of them are. So like
And
that's a sad part for sure.
it's something you guys might not know is Voxy here does not buy skins.
Skins?
Yeah,
Yeah,
skins.
yeah. I
Voxy
don't buy
doesn't buy
skins.
skins.
I don't buy skins. I hate the idea of buying skins. I don't like spending my hard-earned money, my very not hard-earned money, or the money I don't have, on fucking cosmetic skins, like cosmetic additions to a gun that I'll use every once in a while. Like, because like me personally, buying a skin is the price you're paying for a skin is what a game used to cost back in the day
Oh yeah,
per skin, and
easily.
that like usually it's even more than that now, and it's
Yeah.
absolutely like the biggest ripoff ever. Because like remember Call of Duty Black Ops 2? This is why this game was so good. There was a million reasons why the game is good, but this is another good reason to bring it on. You bought a skin on that for $1.
Yep.
And they were fire. They were so good. And I still remember what like 10 of them looked like exactly. Like I
Yep.
remember that one green one you got. I remember like the one you got with Black Ops. No, Call of Duty Ghost came out. That one was always so sleek. There was a Kawaii one that was like this pink one with a little animated character on it.
Yeah.
There was like this other one with the stripes on it, kind of looks similar to like the camo from MW2. There's like there was a lot of really good ones. Long story short, they were incredible. And they
Yeah.
kept coming out with new ones, with new Call of Duties too. And if you bought the new Call of Duty, which only cost you like 50 bucks for new Call of Duty that you would sink your entire day into, less and less as time went on, obviously, but because like they made them shittier. But that was how it was. And it was like $1, $2 for a skin. And people loved it because they understood that like it takes them nothing to do this. It takes absolutely no amount of effort to put them into a game or to make them. But now, if you're going to get a cosmetic on anything, it's going to cost you at least 10 US dollars, which is like, what would it be? Like $13 Canadian. And then you also got to pay tax. So it's like 14 bucks. But then you also got to
Yeah.
pay the other fees, which is like 15 total. So it's like you're paying $15 at least for a skin nowadays.
Yep.
Added on a lot there, but for a skin on a gun. And it's one skin for one gun,
Yep.
and you can't just have it 24/7 either. Like it's different. You're not choosing a class that you're going to get all the time. You have to constantly try to rebuy it. Let's say Valorant, for example, when you're respawning, you have to keep on trying to rebuy that gun. You don't use it for the first 2 rounds. You use it for the next one. But then if you find another skin, you pay another 15 bucks, you'll never use it again. Like it's just you stick to like pretty well the newest one you get, right? So it's not worth it anymore. Like I have a very deep thought about this that you've heard obviously, and that is a good thing to talk about now because like I don't understand the excitement there, and I don't understand why so many people are addicted to it because I find it is the largest waste of money ever. Like,
Uh, so what the idea of buying skins?
yeah, yeah, 100%.
The,
Buying cosmetics in
the
any game now.
So the thought process behind it is, well, the initial thought is the fact that generally when skins are tied to a game, it's similar like how the battle passes and whatnot for free based games and whatnot. They don't do DLC anymore. They do the battle pass and whatnot, which is supposed to extend the life expectancy
Well, it
of
does like
whatever game it is.
I'm assuming you're going on to the point of like that's what they need to like upkeep the game and stuff like that.
Well, no, it's the thought process. Well, kind of the thought process to have something that will bring in money for them to continue the life of the game itself. But
Yep.
the thought process of this marketing skill is to trigger the that dopamine that some people get when something new's coming in, it's flashy, it's pretty and whatnot. I'm guilty of that. I do that all the fucking time.
Yeah, bro. You and Noah specifically are the two
Yep.
people that Patrick, actually, so everyone but me. It's like you guys are addicted to buying in-game stuff. And it's like, you know, Apex is a huge
Yep.
problem for that too, because it was
Yep.
Apex packs. And every single time something came out, like I'm just like, we've been homies forever. So obviously, like, you know, when I see my homies spending money on an in-game thing that
Yeah.
is on a free-to-play game, I'm gonna be like, what the fuck are you doing? And that's just, I'll always be like that. Always be like the not a realist in all forms. I'm not trying to pull that as like my title, but like I'll just always have that in my head. So I'll try to make sure that you guys get it, because like I hate the idea of it. Let's say Noah, right, for example,
Yep.
he goes in and he sees that I got my heirloom on free Apex packs at my 6th pack ever playing Apex
Yep.
Legends on PC for the first time, and I had no idea what it was. I had no idea. I heard about this thing, but I had no idea what to do with it. I was like, "Oh, it's just rare." I tweeted about it, and I'm like, "What is this?" And then I get back questions from like other people. I think even you, and you're like, "What the fuck?" Like 6 in, I'm like, "That's pretty rare, bro." I'm like, "Oh shit, that's kind of nice." And I got one I never use.
Yep.
Cold Steel for Bangalore, which it looks nice. To be fair, it looks nice, but
Yep.
Bangalore is not something I use often, nor do I play the game. But that was exciting. But knowing that it's $500, that is pretty well required to get one, because most of the time you don't even ever see one, let alone 2 or 3 or more, unless you spend that money. So people are going in, and I see you, I see Noah, and I see whoever buying these packs, and I don't even have a single idea of that, like ever being like, oh, dude, I really want to buy more packs so I can get this thing. It's always, I'll get it eventually, and like I'll just keep playing the game, and I eventually, you know, playing the game up to level 300 and something myself. I've never gotten another one. I'm not even anywhere near getting it, because it slows down how many get free. But he went in and I'm pretty sure bought 460 is what I remember, to get
Yep.
his first one. And that's also like on top of him getting free ones. He bought $460 worth, not 460 cases, but 460 Canadian dollars worth, I'm pretty sure. That's what he said, something around that. And I remember being in a call and he was screen sharing because he was streaming it, but I wanted to see it happen. And he was opening all these, and it just never happened.
Yep.
Never happened. I'm pretty sure he eventually got it. But I don't even know if I saw him get it. I might have. But yeah, I watched him open them, and it was just like literally just chucking at a free game. That's the thing. At a free game, spending almost $500 to
Yep.
get a stupid little skin or cosmetic or a knife or whatever. Which, let's be honest, the heirlooms are obviously different. You know, like they're an actual thing you hold, which can
Yeah.
look insane, but they don't even do more damage. Like
No.
they just exist. And to be honest, like they're cool, because like you just swap in and out between, like you're holding your gun and then you bring out the knife and it does a little flip and catch, and you like dash forward or something, and it looks sick. So I understand that one more so, but not the amount of money it costs. But then you go on to a skin on a gun. You're not focused on the gun skin. You're focused on shooting a guy. You're looking at the guy. You're looking in front of you. You're not looking at the gun. You're looking at the crosshair. 90% of the time you're scanning that level. You're on that like axis. Your eyes are just like looking on this flat axis, like perfectly like, you know, aligned with where you think their head's gonna be, and you're watching. I never even pay attention to my gun. So for me, seeing that's like the solid like, you know, that's a checklist for me. Like, all right, will I even look at it? No. How much is it compared to shit that I used to buy? 10 20 times the amount? That's a nope. And can I just use this gun absolutely whenever I want, and will I use it often? Probably not, because I swap out my guns all the time. There's like 4 pistols, 2 rifles, two snipers, 2 shotguns, and 2 SMGs, right? I'm pretty sure.
Still a lot on that line, yeah.
And 2 LMGs. Yeah, so you get like, there's a lot of guns to choose from, and I swap between them all the time. So if you were able to get them for every single gun, you could swap it onto any gun, I would be more inclined to do it. But like, not for that. You know, like, getting a specific thing for a specific gun at a specific time for a stupid amount of money to use maybe for a little while. You know, it's just, that's it. That's a very drawn out reason, but that's a fact to me. And so you understood like like oh, has to keep the upkeep for the game. You got to put money in their pockets so they can keep on making these things, and that makes sense. But goddamn, do I wish we were still in the past where like they didn't have their aim as all right, we need to make billions or we're not happy. Because that's like I think Warzone with their cosmetics and their stuff and like their in-game purchases, their microtransactions are making billions, right?
Yep.
Like, and
Yep.
that's literally again the same exact idea. So like when you think about like, oh, if we didn't buy them, they wouldn't have all this. Yeah, but like there's billions of dollars. So like at that point, I'll let the other guy pay for it. I'm not fucking buying that shit. Like there's
Yeah.
no reason for it. Like if they're making billions of dollars and giving us an unfinished broken game every single year, that's not worth it. Like well, every 2 years now, but
Well, the problem is that they, unlike the old days and whatnot, the old days, the name itself could hold and not have much competitive problems with other industries. Like even COD and Halo were both two big fucking titans back in our day,
oh yeah,
but
dude, Halo,
they
my god.
never actually crossed between each other as a competitive platform because they were two fundamentally different games.
Hmm.
But nowadays there's so many fucking options with what you can spend your time on, and now they have to find a way to attract people and keep them there.
Yeah, 100%. Like you see like Warzone and Fortnite, and you see Apex and whatever other games are out there. Like PUBG, obviously not really a huge player. They're just a nostalgic game that people will still continue to play. They're all like
Yeah.
different BRs that are huge. But then you see Valorant, you see CS:GO, you see Call of Duty, you see again even Apex and other forms and like a whole bunch of other games like that where like they're all competing to try to draw the most amount of attention from everybody as much as possible so they can put all of their focus onto it for the pro leagues so they can like get more people to just
Yeah.
try to form only on their game for their community so they get more eyes on it so they can then sell them more microtransactional stuff because that's really all their money's coming from. And then they have these prize pools of like a couple 100,000, maybe 1 million, maybe 2 million, whatever, when
Yep.
they're making billions of dollars.
Yep.
That's if they would up those prize pools, they would do more community tournaments that were like more low key or whatever. Even if they did that, like people would be more inclined to do it. But like I've seen like ALGS, I'm completely out of the loop on this, so I might be wrong. I think Apex makes like a fraction of what Warzone and other games make, but
Oh yeah.
their prize pools are exponentially larger from what I see.
Yep.
So it's like stuff like that's really a huge one, and that's why on Apex I actually did buy some stuff. Like
Yeah.
they seem to do it a little bit better. I don't know if that's really 100% accurate if I'm just seeing things in a different way, but that's what it looked like to me. So like that's not even really play Apex much because that game honestly is a huge skill gap, and I don't play enough to get good at it.
See, and with Valorant and whatnot, Valorant's kind of had a good head start because Valorant was a I believe the second or third extension of what Riot was doing with video games because their initial one, which was their biggest one, was League of Legends,
Hmm.
which is fucking massive. It's fucking huge. Their competitive scene is fucking wild.
Yeah.
So when they decided to make two other games, one of them being pretty much a basic mobile game, and whatnot, which is smart because mobile games became fucking huge within the past couple of years.
Oh yeah.
But to make your own FPS game coming from more of a like an MMO kind of game that was running in a third person or not third a fourth person skybox view and whatnot
Hmm.
is one hell of a fucking stretch out from what they were doing before. But the name alone was able to catch a lot of people on it and give it a good start at the beginning. But
Hmm.
still going to need factors and whatnot of getting people to stay, getting people to come in. And again, trying to hit those dopamine lines for people and whatnot is probably the easiest way that they're going to be able to do it because it's not like the olden days where you can buy maps and shit like that because where the way it stands right now is that they want everyone to be on this technical same playing field. That's why with whenever they make new skin lines and whatnot,
Hmm.
if you notice, especially let's take the prime skin line, there's a different reload animation, but they have to time crunch it to make sure that that animation fits the exact same time frame as the normal reload animation, because it can't be too fast, it can't be too slow. Everyone has to be on the same playing field and
Hmm.
whatnot. It's just a visual difference.
Yeah, they can't have like the
But
pay to win skins, which some
yeah,
are borderline pay to win. Like especially in Apex, you see a lot of them with like the flat line or something where it changes
yep,
the amount of view you have on the iron sight. But like the actual pay to win is not really a thing. But like the dopamine thing when it hits, when I picked up a skin, when I picked up a gun that has a different skin on it, when I'm reloading, I think it's the Vandal. I can't remember 100%. I'm still new. One of the ARs, the bottom
yeah,
one on the list. So when you're reloading that one, and normally it's pretty basic, it's not exciting. Then you pull out
yeah,
that little like crystal type thing you're reloading it with, the little chamber. You pop it in. It's got this
yeah,
glowing effect to it. It has a certain sound to it. The only thing that really excited me about that is like the sounds that they use in that game make it way more exciting than most games. You play like
yep,
Warzone, it's a boom, psh, boom, psh, boom, psh. Like it's just you're hearing bullets and you're hearing a little like that same exact sound on every single kill, like a little like a little someone's like tapping on something. It just has like a
yeah,
certain smack sound to it. You're on Valorant and everything has like an entirely different sound to it. Everything you're doing is heightened. Everything you're doing has like different layers to it where like let's say you get a multi kill, right? That like the dopamine hit, like it really puts your, it kind
oh
of
yeah,
like puts that in perspective. Or like people like you get one kill, you hear that little chime, you hear the sound, you hear the little hear the animation of like reloading your gun with the skin. It sounds even cooler. But then you hit another guy. That next sound is a little bit more exciting, and then you get a little animation that pops up that's a little bit more cool looking or whatever, has a little bit more to it. The layers are added on. You get another guy, and another guy, another guy, and then you get that crazy finisher at the end, which is like that 100% is like the reason that I'm like getting kind of addicted to the game, because it
yeah,
just really brings you into it, and it kind of like consumes all your I guess like if you weren't really like into the game like mentally, if you weren't really like focused onto it, like you weren't really I guess what's a word? There's something I'm looking for here. But if you weren't really like diving into the game previously, like to that, you pop off one time and now you're waiting for that again. It's
yeah,
kind of like when you get like a crazy roll on something. Like when you hear those sounds, you want to keep on going for it. So you want to keep trying. You want to keep trying to play for it. You want to get those clips and you want to pop off. Like it's just there's so many things in that game, like very minor things that really start getting you more addicted to it and kind
yeah.
of like dive into it. So like I think that's crazy. But Valorant is probably the most interesting game I've gotten into by far in the past couple of years because of all these
And
layers and like the different things that happen and the visual aspects of it do get crazy.
to chime in on the chiming factor with the kills and whatnot, if you actually listen close to it and whatnot, every kill you get
Mhm.
during that first round, the chime changes its sound. It starts peaking more and more and
Yep.
whatnot. It's supposed to hit that exhilaration that you get once you're on a roll.
Yeah, that's what I was saying too. Like when you kill somebody, it has like a little bit the layers of the actual like I guess like it makes it more intense, right? Like so you get it
Yeah,
too. So it literally just makes it more intense. So like it gives you that excitement. And like because if you get like you get like 5 kills in a row, all 5 kills, you get it, you start shitting on the whole team. You get all of them, and it's just a ding, 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 boom, done. You're like, oh, that's cool, but
yeah,
like that doesn't sound that exciting because you've always had that. It's always been the same sounds for everything that you do. In like most games, let's say Black Ops 2, for example, that same little crack sound when you hit someone in the fucking face,
yep,
you beam somebody with a ballista, and like it's always the same sound, which is fun. But this game like kind of like pulls you in more because of that. Like it gives you that that peak of excitement that you're gonna then be like, all right, well I get one kill, it's exciting, but if I keep going for the rest of my sweat and I play a lot and try to get better, I can get those higher numbers and I can get those that sound again. I can get that clip. I can get excited again because like it does kind of feel like you're popping off more than you are. You get 2 kills because the guys are AFK. It's still exciting. It still sounds nice. Plus, the little animations that pop up, little graphics that pop up are still dope too. So I think that's a lot. So, goddamn, the gaming conversations we can have are literally endless. My God. All right, I think before we get closer to the last like topic or so, I think we need to. I think we need to go on to the alcohol. So because we're about having a drink and a conversation, right?
Oh yeah.
I finished my drink right now, but I want to ask you a question. So when it comes to, first off, let's just explain. Liquid therapy is here. I don't think we even explained that really. Uh, we thought it was a funny name that we just randomly came up with after listing about 50 different ones, and we used Chat GPT to try to find something because we couldn't make our decision, and we found so many things that were already taken. But we said screw it, we just doesn't matter anymore. We'll go with something that's nice. Uh, we said we want to have a drink on the podcast. We'll have either a beer or a whiskey or whatever, some sort of alcoholic beverage, right? And today I went with a little bit of bourbon and some Pepsi, throwback. What is it you have again?
Oh, I have some what the hell is it? Peach Crown Royal whiskey.
Oh, okay, there you go. So he's got the Crown Royal, he's got the peach style, he's got it mixed with, wait, what do you have it mixed with? Pepsi?
Root beer.
Oh yeah, root beer. Fuck yeah, you said that earlier too. See, I still need to try that. And because of that, we went to the name Liquid Therapy because like it's therapeutic. Have a conversation with your homie. And you talk about stuff. You talk about things that are going on. We have a new show, and that's what this will be, and that'll continue to be in the future. Whenever I don't know how often we're going to be doing these. Every week, 2 weeks, 1 month, something like that. We'll figure that out. But
Yeah.
so now that we're talking about this, we have the alcoholic beverage. I finished mine, but I want to go off of this. What is let's say your top five drinks that you have that you have in your head. So five drinks that you like the most. It could be different kinds of whiskey, mixed drinks, shots. It could be anything like that. Different beers, whatever.
Well, I'm thinking Bamboo was a great rum that had would have been New Year's and whatnot. That's the
Oh, that one,
bottle I
yeah,
polished off.
yeah.
Yeah.
That was really nice. That one really
Yeah.
got you at the end of the day, huh?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that
Well,
was tough.
no, I was fine with that and whatnot. I came back fine that day. It was the one after that we had that didn't come back so well. The
Oh
one
wait.
that we were given some wisdom.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That
Yeah.
one, that one, that one, that one. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that one was good.
I also have a Guyanese rum that's
A
in my fridge at the
Guyanese rum.
moment. Guyanese rum.
I need to try
Uh,
that when you get that IKEA stuff.
it's El Dorado, I believe, is what it is,
Okay.
and it's really good. It slaps. It slaps.
Hmm.
Um, the peach whiskey is also a big one. Oh, and I love peach flavored shit
Yeah, Crown
in
Royale kind of
general.
just does it really good too. It's got like this
Yeah.
nice like sweetness to it on everything they make. It just kind of hits. I know it's just I find it really it's very smooth.
Yeah.
Very smooth. And that's one thing that I'm like kind of happy with. I just slipped. I was trying to move myself in my chair and I slipped. I almost fell. Thought I was gonna
Uh,
fall out.
Weiser's green apple is fucking amazing.
I don't think I've ever tried that one.
And what the hell is it called? Appleton rum is really fucking good too.
Appleton. Oh, that yeah, that's like a really it wasn't Appleton Estate or Appleton something. I don't know. But like I remember
Appleton
seeing
Estate.
yeah, yeah, and it had like a pretty nice like bitterness to it, but like not too much. And I remember having that like every once in a while. I liked it, but it doesn't have like it has like an older like kind of like a style to it. Like it's not exactly like doesn't pop a whole lot. It's like a very minimal look to it. I can't remember.
Yeah,
It's got
the
like a green
bottles.
and
It's kind of like this little weird fucking bottle and whatnot. It's got
it's like a
like
banner with
it's
a
kind
little
of
center circle in it or something like that where it
yeah.
shows. Yeah, okay, I got you. Yeah. That's not bad. I remember having that one at my grandparents' place. I remember they had it, and I stole a sip of it when I wasn't supposed to, and it hit pretty hard. That was also a long time ago, so we're not going to talk about that one. But I like that though. Yeah, yours are also like rums and whiskeys and stuff like that. So like that's pretty well in line
Yeah.
there. If I had to pick five, my number one right now will have to be Jim Beam's Red Stag. This drink here is like something I've had probably like two or three of these bottles in a couple of years because I don't really drink a whole lot in the first place. But it's a
Yeah.
black cherry,
Ooh.
flavored bourbon, and Jim Beam as a whole is 100% my favorite. Like Jim Beam, there's a black label. It's like I don't know. I don't know, I think it's just like original. I would assume it's the original Jim Beam. I don't think there's really any style to it. Just in general, Jim Beam and then Jim Beam Red Stag are like easily up there. I would say Red Stag goes above it. So my first two, both bourbons. I have this with me. Terrible, terrible idea. Not good at all. It's way too sweet and just way too like I don't know what's the word. It's like syrupy, you know,
Oh,
a little too much. I'm not a fan of that at all. It's like when you leave a bottle of, let's say, another one which is in my top, just because of like nostalgia. Um, the Irish whiskey.
mm,
Well, Jameson.
yeah,
Jameson. That is got to be it's got to be my number three. The Irish whiskey. As an Irish and native man myself, it's pretty good. I think it's pretty nice, but it's also like what you drink like when you first start drinking because it's very easy to get down.
yeah,
And like that's something that everyone just kind of like got into because it's cheap, it's smooth, it's not too harsh, and it's something that you can get. I don't know. It gets you into it. Like it kind of like if you can't drink that, then you shouldn't move on to like harder drinks, and you shouldn't move on to bourbon and stuff like that. But it's a
yeah.
really nice flavor. But the problem is, I left it in the deep freezer for like a month before I drank it, and when I went to drink it again, syrupy, just absolutely awful. So I can't drink it cold as hell like that anymore. It has to be just sitting out in like room temperature, and that's the only way I can do it with like almost any of them I have now. So that's number three, I think. And then after that, I'm going to a beer. I'm going to Rickard's Red Amber Ale. Easily my favorite beer
Mm.
of all time. And then after that, Moosehead Lager, another beer too. So bourbons and beer. That's well, bourbon, whiskey, beer. That's like how my tier list goes. So like that's my top five have to be those. They're 100%. And a little like notable extra would be Woodford Reserve, not for the flavor because it is absolutely shite. It really tastes like shit, but in a good way. If you get it, you get it, But like that stuff hits heavy. But I have terrible, terrible, terrible memories of drinking that. So I don't think I'll ever get it again. I just think that like it's a nice like thing to note on there at the extra little like number six spot. I think. I guess how about for you? What's like the one drink you'll probably never drink again because you had a bad experience with it?
Uh, I don't think it's in terms of bad experience. I just think it's just a fucking terrible drink. Is Sleeman's.
Sleeman's. Oh yeah, the beer, the kind of like coppery color to it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's like the dirtiest beer out there.
Yeah.
Has to be.
It was the cheapest back then for a little while, so
Yeah, it's definitely
it was
one of the
easy.
cheaper ones. Just not
Yeah.
good, just really not good. I like it. I was a fan of it for a little bit, but that's also because I didn't know what beer was. Like I didn't really know a whole lot about it, you know. I would just have it to have it, and I remember that being like what I focused on. It was just like, oh, it's cheap and it's here, and we're drinking. Let's go for it. But if I had to like pick one thing to get rid of forever, it would be that style of beer. Just like the really it's like I don't know how to explain it. It's like peppery, It just feels like
Yeah.
when you're drinking it, someone put dirt in it because it doesn't change much. Like you could barely tell it's there because of like it's so shit going down in the first place. But I feel like that's like one of them right there. Okay, so before we wrap this up, how do you think? How do you think going forward, this liquid therapy thing is going to be? Is something that you enjoy doing? Because like I'm enjoying this a lot. I think it's dope. Like having a place to kind of like get all that. I don't know how to explain it. It's more so just like having like an outlet to like just talk about whatever is on our mind, and we have a lot to go
Yeah.
back and forth on. We have a lot of stories. My God.
Yeah. I think as time goes on, it's inevitably gonna start um talking about some controversial shit going on in the
100%.
world, but
When we get more comfortable with it.
yeah, I think it's definitely gonna be a vibe, and it's definitely it's gonna be a one hell of a trip.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, like we've been sitting here for an hour and a half already. I was trying to see like if we can keep it around an hour, but then there's no way we're going to be able to do that for the first time. We're not structuring this at all. This is a
No.
very unstructured attempt at a podcast and a very scuffed version of it. So anyone who is listening to this point, go ahead and follow our Twitter. Make sure to do that. Follow our Twitter. Make sure to go into our link tree in there and follow all that stuff. You guys can have the video up on YouTube and Rumble just to make sure we can spread it. And then We'll have clips of it here and there on our socials on Twitter. We'll post everything on Twitter. There's a Q&A section on there if you guys actually want to. We don't have any questions that have been asked this time around. There are no questions because it is just started, it's brand new. I put something out, but because we have literally no followers, we have we have how many followers? We have 4 followers. That's you, me, Steph, and one other person, maybe 2. I can't remember how many we have. But it's just something like that. If you guys wanted to, there's hashtag liquidpodqa, and then ask us a question at any point in time. And then as time goes, each episode we'll try to answer at least 1 or 2 of them in this segment right now. But we're just asking each other questions for now, just because. You want any questions from you that you want to ask to get in a conversation before we're done here?
Not particular. Actually, you know what? This will be an interesting little thing from something that happened as of late. Have you heard of who the Pinkertons are?
The Pinkertons? No,
Yeah.
not a clue.
So, from my understanding, was that Pinkertons were a in the 1800s, kind of pushing more towards like a PI almost and whatnot. But for people that have played Red Dead Redemption, apparently they were supposed to be like they were like the evil guys that you were fighting off while you were playing the game. Shit,
Yeah,
I wouldn't know. I didn't play the fucking thing.
yeah, I didn't play it either. I have
But
no idea.
these guys evolved apparently from PIs to almost like a mercenary group, from what I'm understanding from some of the topics at hand. However, the basis of this is the fact that there's a card game that most people are aware of called Magic the Gathering. From recent article, there was a very, 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 very small YouTuber who got a hold of a new set that wasn't supposed to release until a week or 2 after the time frame that I actually purchased it. But he put up the video on his YouTube. The owners, Hasbro, from what I got told, even though Wizards of the Coast also owns it, but Hasbro is one of the distributors, I believe. And they sent the Pinkertons to this guy's house. They ended up raiding his house. Understand this is a mercenary group, basically, storming somebody's fucking house over cardboard. I
Over
myself,
cardboard.
I myself play the fucking game. I understand the value in the cards and whatnot, and how people place values, the whole grading system, X, Y, and
Yeah, it's
Z.
like any sort of
However,
collectible kind of thing, I guess. But
yeah, but however, when you really sit there and think about it, where's the reason in sending it to the guy's house? Like, if you're really going to sit there and send somebody to deal with a confrontation like this, you should be sending it to the store that he purchased it from, because this guy technically did nothing wrong. You went to a store, you saw a product, you bought it, and you went home. And then to some degree later, you end up getting your house stored because the product that you purchased wasn't supposed to be there
so
until
this is
2 weeks
like
later.
so the PI or whatever you're talking about, like are these people? Because when I say you're here PI, you're private investigators, but
Yeah.
like yeah. So there is this like an illegal group that's like still like
Okay.
known, or is this
So
what is this specifically? Because I'm like following
so
mostly.
so I got informed that apparently there's actually a federal law in the United States that prohibits anyone who is a member of the Pinkertons to be working in any shape, sense, or form in a government position. That
Uh-huh.
extends to even small things like working in a bank, because bankers are still technically government employees.
Yeah.
To put something of that to a degree, I'm not too known about the history of them, but to be able to make a law to prevent you from being in any important spots,
Yeah.
slightly alarming.
Okay, so I wanted to look this up so I could just have like a real quick like idea of it. And it's detective agency, but the Pinkerton National Detective Agency hired women and minorities from its founding because they were useful as spies, a practice uncommon at the time. At the height of their power, the Pinkerton Detective Agency was the largest private law enforcement organization in the world. Okay, so I got you. Yeah, so they're like
Yeah.
acting as spies in law enforcement and stuff like that. Okay, so it's like that's so weird. I mean, calling the Pinkertons.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
so
remember,
weird.
this was the 1800.
Yeah, yeah. It's just the
Yeah.
fact that that's still something that pops up now. Like I'm seeing a lot of stuff like 1892 Pinkerton National Detective Agency History and Facts, originally specialized in railway theft cases
Yep.
and stuff like that. It solved the $700,000 Adams Express Co. theft in 1866. Like it's just some crazy stuff. But like hearing that about Magic the Gathering, a little
Yeah.
piece of cardboard, well, cardboard and whatever, it's like
Yeah.
got a film on it and stuff like that. But like for that.
Yep.
Jesus. And to the
But
guy's house again. I like to a house of a guy who bought something that exists just because it exists and he thought it looked neat,
yeah.
not the people who
Well,
created it or distributing it or selling it or whatever. Like that's nuts.
this guy has a YouTube channel and whatnot. I would imagine that it was based around magic. If any way you swing it, even if the guy knowingly knew that it wasn't supposed to be out until a week or two later or
Mhm.
whatever by means, it doesn't fucking matter because the guy that you purchase it from is the one that breached the contract. Because any distributors that get a product that has a time frame of when it's supposed to be sold, just like video games and whatnot,
Yeah.
they are bound by their contract. If they end up breaking it, they're in a ton of shit. But that has nothing to do with the guy that bought the
No,
product
he's
and
buying something
whatnot.
because it exists and it's out there and it's a possible purchase for him to get because it's
Yeah.
not like a so if he doesn't own one before he sees it, he's like, I can afford that, may as well get it, why not? Like,
Yeah.
but like sending it to him is a little like that. That's crazy because like now that I know what you're talking about and what they are, that's so weird, man. Like it's
Well, there was a guy that was covering this for a little bit, and he was talking about it. It's like, well, take this. He gets games sometimes early on and whatnot. That's just through connections and all that fun shit.
mhm.
But he's sitting there. He's like, imagine if I got a day early on like a fucking Pac-Man game and whatnot,
Yeah.
and then now Capcom is aware that I'm in possession of it. That's just like Capcom sending the fucking SWAT team to my
Yeah.
house because I have a fucking CD
Well, I mean,
with with a legal with legal shit on it.
I mean,
You know
I'm
what I
gonna
mean?
say this right now. I'd rather get spotted than say I was raided by the Pinkertons.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any sort of place where I could feel like a grown man anymore if I was like I got raided by the Pinkertons because of
Yeah.
my Magic the Gathering card or whatever it is. That's just that's interesting. But like I've heard like swatting is like something if you just say the word, you're like, oh, it's someone trolling online and being unhappy with someone's presence or something that they're doing, or they just want to piss them off, so they send law enforcement to their house in a dangerous way where they can get hurt. But then
Yeah.
Pinkertons is like you're trying to get to the bottom of something that really isn't any of your business, or it's not a problem, and the guy has nothing to explain, or he has no
Yeah.
reason to be in this position, but because of a card, like that's tough.
Yeah.
That's tough. I
Yeah.
mean, like I assume if that's the case, then they've probably done it with a whole bunch of other things, like let's say the Pokemon trading cards and other things like that in the past. But I had no idea that was even a thing. I've
Yeah.
probably heard of it before. When you said Pinkerton, I was like, I don't know if you're talking about like the Pink Panthers or something. I was like, wait a second, but then you explained it more, and I understood what you mean. But like the Pinkertons, like that's gonna be something I'm gonna be thinking of now. I'm gonna watch them. Not only am I gonna watch that Reservation Dogs that you mentioned earlier, but I'm gonna fucking look into the Pinkertons now. But do my goddamn homework. My God, that's funny though. I mean, that's interesting. I looked it up on YouTube real fast when you said that, and I see a couple things like 5 days ago, 4 days ago, 3 days ago. So it just happened. But
Yeah.
Pinkerton Security and Hasbro go after a YouTuber, and it's like
Yep.
I don't get it. But then again, a lot of like gaming companies are like just I guess like companies in general go after people on YouTube for making content on something that they put out in the world as something anyone can get a hold of, anyone can do, anyone can make content on, and then they go after specific YouTubers because they like talked about something that exists, and it's
Yeah.
just that alone, and it's fucking nuts to me. But sending like detectives at you called I don't know, it's just weird. I don't know how to explain. I don't think there's any like I need to watch a video to like understand more of it, but I don't even know anything about Magic at all. I just know what you mean about like card game. It's a
Yeah.
card game, and like I know
Yeah.
it's huge. Like you've been playing it since I could remember, and I'm pretty sure didn't Patrick play it too?
Oh yeah, he
Yeah.
still plays it.
Okay, got you. So like you guys play. The only two people I know that play it because I don't really, everyone else that we know is like just all they do is drink beer and
Yeah.
smoke cigarettes. So it's like that's about it. But I think I saw like one other thing. There was like not this specifically, but the only other like really controversial card conversation that really happens nowadays is just trading cards for an unrealistic amount of money and then people getting it stolen or finding out that they're fake. So that's like a very interesting thing to happen. So that's why everyone's making videos. They're all have tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of views on it. And I've never even heard of this before, but now it's popping up. Like I know who some of these people were because I've seen them online previously. But like this is a weird situation though. You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
it's the fact that they raided his house. That I don't know. Oh yeah, some ordinary gamers.
Hello, guys.
Mudahar. This guy. Do you know who that is?
Yep.
Yeah. So even he made a video on this, and I don't know. I never saw it. At least I think he did. Yeah, 4 days ago. This is incredibly unhinged. Like he made a fucking
I think I
video on
watched that
too.
one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so like that's something I'm gonna watch too because I actually watch his content regularly, anyways. But it's widespread, pretty crazy. Like 264,000 views
Oh,
on his
yeah.
video alone. That's fucking nuts. Fun fact, you know that the other person who has a Voxy name, just VOXY, she plays Magic the Gathering.
Ah.
She is way larger than me.
You know what? I think I've
Way
seen
larger.
that.
Yep. Yeah. She's got like a good community as far as I've seen. And I would have had the VOXY name if I wasn't going back to earlier when we made our names with stupid extra shit on it, where like I had to put Voxy FFA or It's Voxy or iVoxy and shit like that. My
Yeah.
God, because I've had my Twitch account for over 10 years now. And Justin TV, Twitch account, whatever, either or, but like that kind of stuff. She also plays Magic the Gathering. So I only really know about it from little things like that. And you playing it, other people playing it, and being in the fact that there's another person with a name that is pretty well the exact same as mine that's been playing Magic the Gathering and streaming longer than I've been streaming. So it's like, I don't know. That game, the fact that that game still pops up and has things like this happening, it's fucked up as it is. Not even fucked up. It's just weird as it is. It kind of just helps keep the game alive. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
It brings more eyes to it, so I think it's kind of cool. I mean, as long as the guy wasn't like held at gunpoint and like what the fuck do you have this for? Like that kind of it probably doesn't matter. But if it's just some like random investigator, like what can they even do like legally?
Well-
what can they do?
Well, from what I heard, the statement is the fact that they raided his house. They were
Like
armed.
they actually had a warrant to like go and search the entire house with guns. And
I don't even know if they had a warrant. I know they were fucking armed though.
oh my
And
god,
this was, he has a wife from what I understand and whatnot, and it pretty much threw a panic with
Oh,
her
yeah.
and whatnot because like I mean, you just randomly get your house raided because you have fucking magic cards
yeah.
and whatnot, but holy bear shit.
My God. Like imagine waking up one day and you hear a huge bang and like people are rushing into your house and you find out it's because Hasbro's upset with you.
Yeah. Well,
Like, or not,
and
like,
think about it
specifically,
this
but
way.
yeah.
They're kind of lucky that it wasn't a state like Texas.
Oh yeah,
Because
because like that
God
their guns
forbid-
drawn. And
Oh,
that's
yeah.
a shootout because of a fucking card. Because the guy's just trying to
Yep.
protect his household. And even if it's not a place that you have guns like, on you at all times, like even here, if someone was to bust in here and I was to make a sudden movement and someone that was just in the moment a little less focused or maybe
Oh yeah.
was having a tough time like wrapping their head around it, maybe a little too adrenaline's running a little too high, something can happen and someone could easily have gotten shot or hurt or killed or whatever because a fucking card like that.
Yeah.
I feel like this one incident right here is going to bring a huge change to the law around that, and like also like it's going to be a quite a crazy fine towards like the people who did it and people who like organized this, and it's gonna be a lot of trouble for them. Like again, once I watch a video, I'll probably understand more of it, but like that's a pretty interesting topic. That's fucking crazy. Like
Somebody's getting sued.
yeah, they're getting pretty crazy. That card is a very expensive situation now. That's for sure. My God. And plus, the video did the guy make a video himself about it? Is that like the reason?
I
it's
don't
happening?
even know what the hell the video was about. Like, it can't. There isn't any way you could change it to make it like make him the evil person in this and whatnot. There's no there's no initiation and whatnot to jump on top of and be like, oh, he's doing this. We gotta fucking stop that. No,
And so
there's
just
nothing.
Just like to a simple bullet point on how this started. What was it? He bought a card for what?
So he bought a set, which is just
Yep.
like a handful of cards and
Yep.
whatnot. And the set was not supposed to be released, so it wasn't supposed to be purchasable
Yep.
until a week or two after he had already gotten hold of it.
Yeah. So they fucked up and
And
they sold it earlier, and this guy
well,
bought it. So then he was raided with guns.
yeah, well, the whoever was the distributor
Yeah.
that had it, yeah,
Yeah. So like, it basically they got the product at their store or their location,
yep,
and they probably had an NDA. They probably had a certain like contract. They're not supposed to be like selling this thing at a certain time. There's like a limit to like I
yep,
guess there's a barrier, and they forgot or they just fucked up and they just didn't really focus on like, okay, we should probably look at this thing and read into it. They're like, let's just sell it now. They get it, they sell it. Now, because they decided to do it again, Pinkerton sends, or like so, like Hasbro, or whatever.
yeah,
They send a group of armed agents to this guy's house to
yeah,
raid his house, probably in an illegal way, with guns because he bought a card from a store that fucked up as
yeah.
just a regular consumer. That's crazy. Like that's no, that's fucked. I mean, like at this point, like this guy's probably never buying cards again. He's
Yeah.
probably not buying cards ever again. He's like, yeah, fuck that. This is a dangerous game we're playing. This is like the meth business. Goddamn, my
Well, the
god.
fucked up thing is that there are YouTubers. One big one I used to watch and still watch once in a while is Game Nights and whatnot, who get early access to the set and whatnot directly from the I think directly from Wizards of the Coast, or it's directly from a big titan that does their selling and whatnot
Mhm.
to promote it and whatnot. It's really just the same fucking thing at that point. It's
Yeah,
just one's bigger than the other.
yeah, 100%. It's like how many times people like use like a video to like promote some game or something like that, like and like play the game and it's just like either promoting it or making content or reacting or anything like that. They like say Mario for example. Like people play Mario all the time, but then out of nowhere they're like, oh yeah, this one guy made a video and we don't like it because we just assumed like oh no, how about that bad example actually? Yeah, there's another one I'm pretty sure I could think of. There was a time where someone was making content out of a game that is very popular and a game that has been always talked about. And I can't remember the specific name of it, but he was making content like he normally would. They came up with a new game. He made his content, was slapped with a fine. And like was his content was taken down. His channel was almost terminated on YouTube because he made a video of a game that was released to the public, to like the entire world, that was super popular. Whatever the game was, I don't want to like say it and be wrong, but whatever it was a game that many people were making videos on. But this
Yeah.
one guy was getting drilled with like strikes, takedowns, copyright claims, and fines and stuff like that because he made a regular video, just something like that, because they were just kind of unsure about their own copyright, on their own game, and they didn't want people promoting it or some fucking reason. I don't know. But then since that, I've seen it happen with a couple different games where like these very large games, let's say Mario for example, I'm pretty sure even them have been in that place too, where like they'll randomly start going after people for making content on their games because they're making ad revenue or something. I don't know what it is, but like, why would you go after them? Like, deal with, like put a barrier up there beforehand. Like that, the person who made the video is doing something that everyone's doing. But
Yeah.
going after that one guy in that very rare instance is kind of similar to this. Like you're just going after somebody for like way out of line for just doing something that everyone's been doing for a long time because you kind of fucked up on your rules or someone else fucked up down the line on like what they were allowed to do. And they didn't mention that. They didn't like, I guess they didn't get that across as well as they should have or something. I don't know. But the way that it's handled are like super insane and they're like life threatening or, financially ruining, for those people that are in the crossfire for it because they just did something as simple as consumed the content or like the product or whatever. You know what I mean? Like it's fucking nuts. Some crazy shit happens, and especially it's just funny. You like dull it down to what happened the other day. I saw there were there were guys like rushing into your house. something to go around. Oh yeah, so I bought this little card here. You see, I bought a card, so they came in here and put a gun to my face, and they
Yeah.
raided my whole house. So like, you sure it's not meth? No, 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 it was a card for sure. And then they go to the next family gathering, everyone's whispering. Then he got a fucking like a drug kingpin or something. Because like, there's no way they're running there with like SWAT style, going into this guy's house, raiding it, flipping shit, going crazy, and like pulling guns. Like, where the fuck is it? Like, where? It's like, where are you hiding it? And then the guy's just like, I'm sorry, bro. It's like literally sitting on the table, like around all of the
Yeah.
Cheetos and shit that he's munching on, like some Cheetos and some Mountain Dew, and he's just chilling, and there's a card sitting on the table. They get that, they leave. Like, nah, bro, you gotta assume there's meth in there or something. Like, this guy's an ex Heisenberg. Like, that's hilarious. My God. No, that was fucking interesting. All right, you know what? I think it's time we friggin' we wrap this thing up, dude. Yeah, I think it's pretty good. We're almost at 2 hours now.
Yep.
So this gonna be a lengthy startup, but I think it was damn good. We had a lot of good conversations in this one. So dude, first podcast, first episode, scuffed for sure. We're gonna have to fix some things at some point, because like, it's very scuffed right now, but it worked. I mean, it worked. I mean, like, for the majority of it, like, I feel like the majority of what they're seeing on your side is they're seeing this. So that's
100%.
one thing. So we'll try to like, I don't know, we'll try to have more ideas for next time. We'll try to have more structure. Well, I think next time, you know what? Next episode, I think we got to see if we can get it to about an hour to an hour and 15 minutes. I think if we try to get them down to that point, just to be like easier, we'll see if we can do it. But either way, as long as it's not like a 5-hour podcast, that's really all that matters. But
Yeah.
I think it's pretty good. So fuck yeah. Anything else you want to say before the end of this thing, before we wrap it up?
No, I feel like if I'm gonna say something else, it's gonna be another fucking hour.
It's gonna be another half an hour for sure. All right, well, dudes, I think that because I literally had it in the notes saying keep it to an hour if possible, but we passed that. we passed that 56 minutes ago. So you know what? A little bit of a little cheers to the fellas. I moved on to my second beverage. You had yours in your Yeti mug there. I had mine right in front of me, so if I didn't drink it, it would go warm. So that's something I got to do. But I mean, hey. Again, cheers to the fellows who are listening. I appreciate everyone who's stuck around for this. Again, Voxy, Squally, where we had exactly the amount you were like looking around for the viewers. We like the one or two people.
Oh
who are
no!
gonna
Somebody
listen.
just like threw shit upstairs. I'm like, the fuck was that?
And I mentioned the viewers, and he's like, yeah, where are they at? There are like one or two people that'll listen in. But hey, you know what? Pretty chill time. Again, Liquid Therapy is the name, and drinking and chatting is our game. And we're kind of, that was cringe, but we're gonna keep it in. So, yeah, follow the socials. Again, we'll have my social underneath on my portion of this, and it'll be in front of you guys. His will be over on his too. And if you guys want to follow all our stuff, it'll be down on the bottom or the top. And yeah, so I guess we'll see you guys next episode. We'll try to keep it like pretty well the same style as now, but obviously not nearly as long. But if you guys want to find us again, dude, hit us up on Twitter. All right. Liquid Pod. I think it's literally just Liquid Pod. Yep. At Liquid Pod. Okay, guys, signing off, dude. A little goodbye from me. And, yeah.
Bye.
Later, everybody. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you guys next time.